Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Street Talk. I'm Jeff Burke, the Chief Sales Officer, and we got a great program to introduce to you guys today, and that's our EPSG Tier 2 program. So let me start out by saying, Happy New Year to everybody. This is our first new year of 2020. We're really looking forward to bringing you guys some awesome content, starting with today's Street Talk. You notice we got a great new Street Talk logo, and we have a new little catchphrase from the C Street to the streets. And we really plan on bringing you some great guests, some big wigs in the industry, some real Q&A opportunities, and obviously a litany of products and softwares and things that we plan on launching in the next, several months. So part of our promise, guys, this year especially, is to deliver our sales agents the tools and the products necessary to be very competitive in this market. We hope to provide those tools to earn all of your business, or at least more of it. And we hope that opportunities like this do exactly that. So let's get into it. So a quick overview of our Tier 2 programs. This is a brand new product offering here at EPSG. It gives you more chances to say yes. Obviously, that's what we try to do here at EPSG, whether it's provide alternative technology platforms that allow you to link in with more business types, whether that be through points of sale devices or web portals or more complex ERP systems. That's a big part of it. But another thing is just plain taking more merchants. It's an alternative option to our more conservative channels. At the end of the day, our main partners are through Wood Forest Bank and through Evo and Deutsche Bank. Generally speaking, they are our very conservative banks. Another big overview is we are not and will never be a high-risk shop. We like to refer to this as not high risk, but higher risk. Okay, so we're going to go over some specific business types, but generally speaking, merchants that fall out of the card present world and they fall into more of a gray area that maybe have a combination of future delivery or questionable products or something like that. And really any of these gray area merchants that have a very large amount of transactions or a large sum of transactions, as well as major volume, a lot of times will fall into this Tier 2 program. There also are some specific guidelines and Schedule A items that are different for Tier 2 merchants, which we will go over here very shortly. So here's some examples of some Tier 2 type merchants, some obscure consulting companies. Some of the veterans on the call are well aware that sometimes the word consulting can be a little bit vague, and what kind of work and what their actual products and services they do consult and provide can be a lot of times future delivery. It can be guarantees. It can be a consulting company with a bad history or something like that, all of which would knock them out of the traditional channels and move them towards this Tier 2 channel. Ticket sales, whether that be brokers that sell tickets for multiple events, maybe it's specific events, tickets in general fall into this gray area. A lot of processors will not touch ticket sales because of the threat of inclement weather or closing of events and things like that that can really drive up the potential of losses. So this is another good example that don't always go to Tier 2, but is a great example of that. SEO, or search engine optimization. Some of you know that SEO is usually in any conservative bank is an instant decline. This Tier 2 program is a fantastic source for any merchant that provides SEO or mentions it in their web-based services and things like that. Also, outbound call centers. Call centers in general are a sensitive topic with more conservative banks, but this Tier 2 program is perfect for that. Travel agencies. Specifically without air though. Air travel is another level that would fall into the high risk, not the higher risk. So any travel agency that does not provide air is a great candidate for Tier 2. Future delivery merchants, really anything outside of a 30-day window of future delivery, but less than 12 months is pretty much a prime candidate for this Tier 2 program. Couple things to know, or at least to take note of. Tier 2 application is not yet implemented in SmartApp, but it will. We have a couple other priorities we're trying to get ahead. We have version 2.0 coming out here soon, and we will get this new application in there very soon. But in the meantime, you can find this fillable PDF on our Epic Campus portal, or you could simply just email sales team at goepsg.com, and we'll be happy to provide you with that fillable PDF. You also, I encourage you, if you're in a business type that you're not 100% sure, prior to filling out an application, I strongly suggest shooting over some details about that merchant to applications at goepsg.com to do a quick little pre-screen to confirm whether this is going to be a tier 2 merchant or a tier 1 merchant prior to executing that application. Obviously, it's never a fun procedure to go back to the merchant and have another application filled out. But there's also a scenario that is going to happen frequently, that we have a current application already submitted, whether it's through the Evo channel or through the Woodforest channel, that was declined for some of these reasons, that would now be eligible for the tier 2 application. In those instances, you'll be communicated that through the application department upon the decline of that deal. And then unfortunately, you would need to go execute a new tier 2 application with that merchant, meeting the respective guidelines that we're going to go over here in a minute. For any general questions about this product, or really any questions for that matter, always feel free to email salesteam@goepsg.com, where we have our internal sales support team dedicated to giving you the support on any questions that you need. Another thing to take note, the commission payout for this particular portfolio, as it grows obviously, is done after the Woodforest residual. So it's paid out right about the last day of the month. So here's some of the general guidelines for a tier 2 merchant, okay? One of the big misconceptions that some partners, especially new partners, have is that more volume in a riskier environment requires less rates because they do more volume. Quite the contrary. Always keep in mind that these merchants do not have many opportunities because of their risk profile. So any of these tier 2 programs always require a higher basis point in order to mitigate the risk that's involved. So some of the guidelines with tier 2 is a minimum fees of 55 basis points above the interchange. So again, to go back on what I just explained, if you have an existing application that was declined, that was a more conservative pricing, like 10 basis points, 20 basis points, you're going to be required to get at least 55 basis points above that interchange for the tier 2 program on the new application. There's also a max of 50% commission paid out on all tier 2 merchants. No exception. Again, we're taking on a lot more risk with these business types. That's why they're deemed that way. And we have to mitigate that risk in certain ways, like more profit in the deals and less payout for us. Because obviously, all of our partners, none of you all take any liability. We take 100% liability, even on these tier 2 merchants. Therefore, this fits our risk profile. Also, to fall in line there, end of month billing is a very common request here at EPSG. Generally speaking, we are not going to allow end of month billing for tier 2 merchants, only daily discount, for again the same reason, to mitigate some of the risk we have. There's also no signing bonuses paid out on any tier 2 merchants, regardless. And again, to reiterate, that commission payout will in fact be at the end of the month, not mid-month or by the 25th like our respective other banks. And obviously we will put an asterisk here at the bottom, guys. There can be some exceptions made to potentially to these guidelines in the event that with management approval. And those guidelines we're not going to really share them per se, but we will review any account and potentially make an exception here. But generally speaking, these are the rules and we intend to stick by them. Also, in addition to the guidelines that need to be followed, there's also some specific changes to the Schedule A pricing for merchants that fall into the Tier 2 category. Some of them are pretty obvious. The IP transaction of 6 cents. If it's a dial, it's dial transaction at 7 cents. AVS is pretty much in line. Chargebacks and retrievals. You'll note that this is the Tier 2 bank's minimum on this, so there's no profit in that of $25. There's an account on file fee of $15 rather than the traditional 10 on this platform. 25 cents per batch. And a BIN sponsorship fee of 5 basis points. If you recall on that Woodforest relationship, it's currently 1 basis point, but for the Tier 2 program, it is 5 basis points. So basically, follow the guidelines in terms of pricing, in terms of daily discount, and so on and so forth, and make sure your pricing takes into consideration these Schedule A items, not your Schedule A items on the rest of your portfolio. Keep in mind that we will have a dedicated page on our Epic campus on Tier 2 details, outlining not only this training and this PowerPoint, but also the specific Schedule A items and the guidelines necessary, and some FAQ type questions to work you through the process. But again, I encourage anyone to email us directly if you have any questions about it. So to wrap up our Tier 2 program, email applications to pre-screen any merchant. Any submitted applications that have been declined by Evo or Wood Forest will need a new Tier 2 application. No signing bonuses, a max of 50% commission out on these accounts, and the commission is paid out at the end of the month rather than the middle. These are some different guidelines from our traditional methods, but keep in mind, don't lose sight. This is an opportunity to say yes more. These are strictly merchants that are going to have trouble getting processing anywhere else. We hope to take the majority of our declines and put them back towards this to give everybody on the call and everybody in our group the opportunity to earn as much commissions as possible for as many business types as possible. With that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up today's Street Talk. If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to maybe type it in the Q&A box on there, or feel free to email us at the sales team directly. We do have a question to please send out the presentation. The presentation will be posted again on Epic. We are not going to email out the presentation. You'll need to actually access Epic Campus to view that. Just in case we have to make any updates or anything, it's all in a central place. I was asked to show the categories again, so let me get that over there. Some obscure type of consulting groups, ticket sales, SEO merchants, outbound call centers, travel agencies without air, any merchants with future delivery type businesses outside of 30 days, but less than 12 months are all great candidates for this. Any other questions? Had a great question. Who's the bank we're placing this with? It's a great question. It's probably going to be with a Deutsche Bank channel. However, this Tier 2 program allows us to have a couple different options there. So it's not completely isolated to that, but primarily. So another quick question is about CBD. And unfortunately, no, CBD is not a Tier 2 merchant. We're still hoping for a CBD solution. I assure you, when one comes about, we will most certainly be communicating that. But CBD is not, unfortunately, in this category, and we do not currently have a solution for that. All right, well, thank you guys very much for being on Street Talk this week. We're really going to bring you some amazing content this year. We've really revamped Street Talk from the bottom up, and we've already got some fantastic guests, some of the top CEOs and partners in this entire industry. They're going to come on to our little Street Talk and give us an opportunity to pick their brain and go through that. So everybody have a great rest of the day. I hope everybody's got your goals ready for 2020, and we hope to help you achieve those at our best we can. Thank you very much.